Welcome back to the Motor Index, folks. And well, Judgment Weekend has arrived. Daytona regular season finale. Winner takes all. I'm not winner takes all, but uh, last chance for a new winner to win his way into the playoffs. You got two spots remaining. Currently, we'll get into all of who's currently in and all the scenarios and everything that could play out here. This is obviously one of the biggest weeks of the NASCAR Cup Series season. This is one of my favorite races just on the whole schedule. The whole night at Daytona thing is just always unbelievable no matter what. Like, it never fails having a night race at Daytona. But adding the stakes that are on the line, it's just one of the most blood pumping, adrenaline pumping races that exists on the schedule. And I think it's fantastic. When they got rid of when they bumped this up to the second to last race of the regular season last year, because it was this for a few years, and then they made it Darlington the final race of the regular season. I thought that was stupid because the magic of this, with the wild card aspect of Daytona and the stakes that they put on the line, it's chef's kiss. It's so good. But yeah, so currently as things stand, Tyler Reddick, final car, or is he I think he's the final car in on points if I'm reading this correctly, or I might have some BS stats here, but I think the final two cars in right now are Reddick and Bowman. If there's no new winner, those two get in. But I got a bad feel, not bad feeling, but I got a sneaky feeling there's going to be a new winner. Could be Reddick or Bowman. Could absolutely be Reddick or Bowman, but my gut's telling me it's going to be somebody that kicks one of them two out, and I can already see the tweets rolling in on regarding the playoff format when one of those misses. So that will be drama, I think. Yeah, this race just has such good aura. It's the day to night under the lights as the sun is setting. That also even plays a factor into the strategy with the tires or with the setups and stuff. That day to night aspect, maybe not so much at Daytona as much as it would have at like a Darlington, but still, I mean, it still does play a factor. Obviously, got to factor in the big one when you're at one of these super speedways. The notion is you got a 50% chance of wrecking out of this race, and I would definitely agree with that. But I think there are guys who this kind of if you've ever listened to Michael McDowell talk about it, he is not a believer in the super speedway luck. Like, sure, it might be luck avoiding the wrecks, but it's not luck who's running up front. The guys who run up front consistently at these things run up there consistently for a reason. There's a reason Kyle Larson, who's more likely than not the unanimous best driver in NASCAR, struggles like hell at these races. Now he has actually had some pretty good super speedway finishes this season, but he'll even tell you he hates this type of racing and he's not good at it. The proof's in the pudding. I mean, so yeah, like I said, there is great chance for a lot of guys to win their way in. And I do think they got to fix the format in some way to, maybe alleviate one of these 30th in points guys making the playoffs. And I know some people do actually disagree with that aspect of making it, top 20 or top 25 in points have to win and get in. But I don't know. I think it's just kind of BS, honestly. So I don't know. Maybe you make it to where if you have multiple wins, but you're that far back in points, you get in or something. I don't know. We should probably that's a conversation for a different day. I don't want to get down that route. But last year's race of this, I know it wasn't the regular season finale, but the summer Daytona race was chaotic. You had what was it in the first stage was actually pretty chill up to a point, but then what was it on pit road? Was it Daniel Suarez behind Denny Hamlin or vice versa? And something happened on Denny's car when he was pulling out that like completely engulfed the 99 car into flames. It was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. He was fine, but that car went up in flames quick, and he got out of that car quick. But so that happened. I'm forgetting some other stuff that happened, but by the end of that race and the way that those last handful of laps played out with those two massive wrecks. You had the McDowell go flying, almost flying into the catch fence. And then literally on the next restart, you had Barry flipping and going nose first into the wall while he was upside down. That was one of the. I would argue that was. I don't want to say that was scarier than the Priest wreck this year, because the Priest wreck this year was nuts. But that one was bad too. I was really scared Josh Berry was going to be hurt bad from that. Because, when you're on your roof, well, there's no good way to wreck in a race car. But if you're going to, you would probably prefer it to be on your wheels when all the force is pushing you into the seat, so the seat's like hugging you. But when you're upside down, it's the straps, and yeah, you are pretty hard strapped in there, but it's not that there's nowhere near as much force pulling you down into the seat like there would be if you were upright. So that's why I was really scared that he might be hurt from that. Luckily, he was perfectly fine. But that was a scary wreck. And then obviously we know how it ended, with Harrison Burton getting a push from Parker Retzlaff beyond to pass Kyle Busch, who's being pushed by Christopher Bell on the bottom row. Those two were able to beat those that duo for the win, getting Harrison Burton his first Cup win. Obviously, remarkable moment with the booth. The call in the booth was awesome. So it was a great moment. It was certainly a great moment, but it also did highlight the flaws of this playoff system. So say what you want. I mean, definitely don't want to take anything away from Harrison Burton. That was a remarkable way to win that race, but something's got to be done with the format. But that, like I said, this is not a format video, but if we're going to be talking about it, there we go. The one thing before we get into the contenders is just, look at Talladega. Like, yeah, they were doing the fuel saving, which obviously they're always going to do the fuel saving, which is going to probably create 3 or 4 wide racing, which that'll be great. And everybody likes to say that's eye candy, but that's hard to race in. But that's not the thing I want to talk about. The thing I want to talk about is the end of the race. When everybody's pushing full throttle, can somebody pass? And I'm not talking on a restart. I'm talking when they get lined up after like a green flag cycle, are they able to pass when they are going full throttle? That will be what I'm looking for, because Talladega, you really weren't able to. So that was interesting. But yeah, let's just get into contenders. So I'm not going to pick anybody who has a win this year or is currently in the playoffs. So that discredits all drivers who have wins, plus Reddick and Bowman, who will get in if there's no new winner. I think both those guys could win this race, Reddick and Bowman. But we're gonna focus this on cars that are not currently in the playoffs right now. All of RFK Racing, we've been talking about it for weeks. They've got all the speed in the world. Buescher won this race a few years ago, so would not be shocked to see Chris Buescher go and win it. Ryan Preece almost won at Talladega. If he can keep that car on the ground, like he has failed to do so in the last 2 Daytona races. Or wait, I don't remember. No, that was 2 years ago. Okay. Ryan Preece needs to figure out a way to keep that car on the ground to begin with, but Preece has been one of the fastest cars in Cup all year, especially at the super speedways. I expect him to be in the mix. And then obviously Keselowski's been great recently. But we'll have to see. I'm thinking back to that Atlanta race, and man, that was a heartbreaker for Brad. So they RFK Racing as a whole knows how to get it done at the super speedways. I think if you're asking for my winner, I'm going Brad Keselowski. I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski. That's my winner. But I think the winner's going to come from the RFK camp if it's not. Some other contenders, Kyle Busch. I think Kyle Busch is going to have a rocket ship. It's just a matter of getting to the end there and having everything fall your way, which that's just racing. But I think Kyle Busch will be in the mix. Ricky Stenhouse, Kyle Busch's best buddy, is another guy who could definitely spoil the playoff party. I don't have to inform people at the super speedway prowess of Ricky Stenhouse. That should pretty much speak for itself. It should speak for every single guy on this list because that's kind of what we're going for. But look for Stenhouse. Jones, maybe. I know Jones has not been super fast this year as far as, top 10s and top 5s, but he did. Well, did he win that Clash or did he get that taken away? Jones, I know. I think Jones had it taken away. That Clash win, but um, we know Jones knows the super speedways well. He's won here before in this race. Maybe his teammate John Hunter Nemechek, great at super speedways. They've had the speed to be, or they've had marginally improved speed, but not contender speed. Whether though at the super speedways they have shown contender speed, so we'll see about that. Carson Hocevar, obviously one of the best drivers as far as running up front all year, but cannot find a way to finish these races. Though I would not be shocked if he went out there and got his first Cup win and did this. It's just it's every week with Hocevar. It's one thing after another. I don't even know when his last top 5 was, honestly, and I'm sure it might be. I might sound stupid saying that because it might have been like a week or two ago, but yeah, I don't know. Hocevar, I still think the win's going to come this year at some point. He runs so good, finds himself in position to win, and then something happens. Like I think last week it was during the final green flag cycle he had something happen, and that completely took him out of contention. Because if I'm remembering correctly, the strategy was falling well in his favor, not great in his favor, but it was looking all right for him. Like he was going to be able to contend, but didn't come together. But no, Hocevar, certainly expect him, and Michael McDowell. I think he was on the pole for this race last year, or if he was on the front row. Obviously had that crazy wreck going airborne last year, but yeah, Michael McDowell, certainly somebody who could spoil it for Reddick or Bowman. So yeah, and just I think the fact that Reddick could not get in, if the right circumstances play out, that's crazy to me. I mean, and maybe I shouldn't say it's crazy to me because we've also sat here all year and said, well, Reddick has been significantly worse compared to last year, because last year he was just, he won the regular season championship, and now he's having to fight on points heading into Daytona in the final week of the regular season. So if that doesn't say anything for how far they've dropped, I don't know what will. But it's just wild. But yeah. Before we get on out of here, I'm gonna just go over the schedule, the schedule release bit, and give just my general thoughts. I was going to do a whole video about this, but I kind of realized I'm not really going to be saying anything. I'm not going to be reinventing the wheel here. I'm going to be kind of reiterating just what a lot of people have said. But just going over the hits, the Glen move into the springtime instead of the late summer. That's fine. I get there is a weather concern with that, and I think NASCAR might be underestimating that weather concern, but who cares? Just go to the race in May. Everybody's like, "Oh, it's a summer tradition." Who cares? Just go. And if you don't want to go, you probably just don't like NASCAR racing enough. So, get over it. 2 off weeks. I like that. Personally, I would love for there to be NASCAR racing 52 weeks out of the year, but obviously that is not realistic, and we all know how much of a grind this sport is. So I think, putting my selfish interests aside, this is probably a good thing. San Diego, obviously we knew San Diego was coming. Chicagoland, love that addition. Those replace the Chicago Street Race and the Mexico Street Race. I love the Chicagoland thing. Love it. I think I might actually have to go to that race, because I think if they don't repave that thing, which please God do not repave that thing, just touch it up to what it needs to be touched up at. Dude, that race could be nuts, I think. It would be like Michigan, but imagine if Michigan just ground the tires to shreds. And Michigan kind of does to an extent, but I think it's going to be chaos. I think it's going to look like, how do I describe this? Remember that last race at Fontana and how crazy that got? I think like it's going to be like that, kind of blended with that chaotic race at Bristol where the tires wore. Maybe not to that extent, but it's going to grind those tires badly. And I think it's going to be a wild strategy race. The speeds and the performance of the next gen car is going to be absurd. I think I might actually have to go cover that race. I don't think that's really negotiable because I think it's going to be nuts. North Wilkesboro gets its point race. Great, love that. What I do not like is the Dover All Star race during the day. Dover just put on a great race. What are we doing here? Why not go back to Bristol, who sucks right now? Bristol sucks right now. Dover does not suck completely. It's not great, but it doesn't completely suck right now like Dover does, or like Bristol does. So why not go to Dover or Bristol? So I don't know. Or they could have just done something completely off the walls with that too. It's just the daytime. It's just really, this race is going to have zero aura whatsoever. And what do you think you're going to get the Dover crowd out there for that, an all-star race? I don't know. I hate it, but it's the all-star race. Who cares? And then the last thing before we get out of here, some of the things with the playoffs I thought was a little weird. Obviously, they said the playoffs are subject to possibly change next year, if not next year, the year after. Why is Talladega in the round of 8? Sorry, like, why the hell is Talladega in the round of 8? It's batshit crazy. I'm sorry. That's the only way I can put it. Whatever. That's enough of that. Phoenix moves to the round of 8 from the championship race. Not shocking there because we obviously knew Homestead was becoming the championship race again. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. The only concern might be how hot it might get because that will be, early October or maybe a little mid-October. I don't know. I'd have to go look at what the date was. It's going to be pretty hot. But then again, the championship race is almost actually kind of a cold race. And now it's going to be hot in Miami, so that'll be interesting. But, yeah, I mean, it's not really shocking. We all know why Phoenix is there in the round of 8. It's because of the crowd that Phoenix draws. It's not because of the racing, that's for sure. Though I think the racing, I mean, look at the next gen tire. Look at the new tire that they brought to Richmond. If they're able to do something like that when they go to Phoenix, yeah, that could be something that maybe changes the Phoenix aspect. But then again, I still struggle to think Phoenix is ever going to be a great race. I think what you expect out of a good Phoenix race is the strategy's got to just be complete and total chaos, and you got to hope for something crazy to happen at the end, which more times than not it doesn't. But typically the strategy at Phoenix can be pretty interesting. I think some of the casual fans kind of ignore that, but it's whatever. But then again, at the end of the day, I agree with a lot of the criticisms of Phoenix Raceway, so is what it is. And then Vegas moving to the round of 12, I thought was odd. And also in the round of 12, it's Kansas, Vegas, and then the Roval. And the Roval gets a lot of hate, and I completely get it. It should be on the oval. I agree with all that. Well, I would have kept Watkins Glen in the playoffs. I would. Well, it's not. I know it's not in the playoffs now, but it would be in the playoffs if I were in charge. And there would be and the Charlotte Oval would be. I don't think the Roval. Well, how do I want to say this? It's not awful, but it's not ideal. But I just don't like Vegas being in the round of 12 and being the middle race of the round of 12. Why don't we have any? I would like to have a intermediate BA cutoff race. I think that would be entertaining. But what do I know? I'm not in charge. So with that being said, I think that's all we've got today. Yeah, like I said, I didn't want to make a full video for the playoff or for the schedule. Not really reinventing the wheel here. So just want to give my general thoughts on that. But Daytona, going to be a great race. I predict. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a adrenaline inducing race. And I can't wait for it. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy the race tomorrow night, Saturday night. Yes, not Sunday, Saturday night. Make sure you guys tune in. God bless.